Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely huge. Huge development. Marc Elias testified today in the Durham probe special counsel. He testified because the prosecution, John Durham, and the federal prosecutors wanted to ensure the jury knew that there was a concerted effort. According to Elias, it was to prevent against a libel suit that Trump would bring against the Clinton campaign, which is absolutely absurd. It was meant to set up and frame Trump by funneling deceitful lies, absurd allegations into the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other government agencies to get them to investigate an incoming candidate or Clinton's direct political rival. What Elias is testifying, what he is saying is, according to Politico, the top lawyer on Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential bid, Marc Elias, testified in federal court Wednesday that his hiring of a private research firm, Fusion GPS, to turn up damaging information about candidate Donald Trump was part of a broader effort to guard against possible libel suits against the campaign from Trump or others. This is, of course, nonsense. But we'll get to that in a second. Hit subscribe to this channel, H.A. Goodman. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a segment right before this one on the Stock Market Crash channel. Also, ladies and gentlemen, please, my new channel, Bitcoin Crash to 10,000 or lower channel. You might say you're completely nuts, but unfortunately, we're looking at one of the greatest implosions of the stock market and also one of the greatest losses of wealth in generations with crypto crashing. Bitcoin, unfortunately, will get to below 10,000, but you're looking at Coinbase, Tether. Tether is not equal to $1. That is absolutely not the case. They have 2.9% of all their assets in cash, or they back their peg by only, which they lost by only 2.9% in US dollars, but they say Tether is equal to $1. This is not true. This is part of a scheme or a gigantic, enormous, unholy racket, unfortunately, that a lot of wonderful people will get caught up in. I don't want Bitcoin and crypto to lose, to crash and become, to descend into oblivion. I don't want all of that to take place. A lot of the philosophy and the ideology I agree with. I'm giving my thoughts to the world because I was right. I predicted today the Dow is down 1,200 points, NASDAQ close to 600 points. Everything's collapsing. Have I not been telling everybody on this channel? You know me. I just focus, I obsess over things. You know I've been saying this since last October. I wrote in the Federalist this would take place, ladies and gentlemen. Read the article below. I've streamlined the pinned comment. Subscribe to my new channel. Please watch my first segment on the Bitcoin Crash to 10,000 or lower channel. That's below in the pinned comment. Please watch the new segment. Watch the latest segment in the Stock Market Crash channel, and we're going to talk about Elias and the Durham probe in 1 second. If you want to support this channel, my work, the 3 channels, my Patreon is below in the pinned comment. Also, ladies and gentlemen, become a member. We have an amazing community. I'll have a live stream either tonight or tomorrow night on this channel. We have a wonderful time here. Become a member of the channel. Just go to the front page of the channel. It'll show you how to become a member. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Hit subscribe to all 3 channels. Share all 3 channels, ladies and gentlemen. And word of mouth is the best thing possible. If you're talking on the dinner table, at the dinner table or at work or whatever about the stock market crash and crypto and Bitcoin crash, please let them know that H.A. Goodman has channels, wrote about this, predicted all of this in 2021. Marc Elias is lying. He is not telling the truth, but Durham wants him to lie. Durham is using Elias to highlight the fact Marc Elias is testifying against his colleague Michael SUSSMAN. It's like Batman testifying against Robin. It's like, one of the conspirators in Julius Caesar testifying against Julius Caesar. Or actually, they did worse, but it's basically, to Brutus. It's a colleague. There's no honor among thieves. What took place is they set up and framed Trump. The people who set up and framed Trump are now turning on each other. You now have even Robbie Mook. These are 2 top Clinton campaign officials. The top legal person, in addition to Robbie Mook, Marc Elias is testifying. against Sussman. Sussman virtually has no chance to be acquitted. They're going to convict him almost certainly. Now, again, if there's a hung jury, I've already said that's a possibility, so I don't want to hear any, you said that he's going to be convicted. If the jury listens to the evidence, there's no doubt he'll get convicted. This conviction will lead to future indictments because the entire defense for Michael Sussman is that they knew. James Baker, the top legal counsel, knew, and he wasn't duped by Sussman. Sussman, working for the Clinton campaign, texted James Baker, I'm meeting you not on behalf of a client. I'm meeting you just on my own. He lied specifically because he was involved in a whole bunch, along with a lot of people, tech researchers, a tech executive, a law firm, Fusion GPS, a whole bunch of Christopher Steele, a whole bunch of people creating fake, phony, false, deceitful, conniving allegations. They were not true. They gave all of these lies. Imagine MSNBC and CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times. If Rudy Giuliani or anyone in Trump's campaign or Stephen Miller or anyone went and gave derogatory information completely false to the Department of Justice or the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the Central Intelligence or any agency to investigate Clinton or mashed potato brains Biden, could you imagine? Could you imagine the uproar? The indignation would be heard throughout the universe. Okay? What took place is the following. I'll read you. Top Clinton campaign attorney Marc Elias takes stand at trial for former colleague. The general counsel for Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential bid testified for the prosecution in a false statement case against lawyer Michael Sussman. He is saying that this was about, so Marc Elias is obviously lying, saying that it was about a libel suit. It was it could have been about a libel suit, but it was primarily, he's lying by omission. It was primarily about setting up and framing Trump by giving government officials who could investigate him, government agencies who couldn't investigate him, derogatory information for them to investigate Trump. That was the whole point of the Sussman meeting. That's the whole point of Elias purchasing the Steele dossier on behalf of the Clinton campaign, the DNC. But what Marc Elias is doing right now is the following. They outsourced. What happened is they outsourced everyone. They outsourced a law firm. The law firm outsourced Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS outsourced Christopher Steele. Sussman worked with the tech executive. A tech executive worked with researchers that were obtaining government funding from DARPA. This whole thing is a labyrinth that's pretty easy to see, but it's a lot of people working on behalf of the Clinton campaign, the Democratic Party, to set up and frame Trump with the use of government officials. The government officials, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, all of them didn't like Trump. This is not rocket science. The people who can't believe this are ideologues, hardcore Democratic partisans who don't want to look in the mirror. They think the uranium sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity at that point that the New York Times even broke when he was actually doing journalism and not serving as a mouthpiece for one political party, they think that's normal and above board. It's just a commodity. Well, now those commodities are through the roof, and guess what country has a monopoly on those commodities? Oh, that's right. The country that gave money, the people within the country that gave money to the foundation. By the way, I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024 or a Clinton DeSantis 2024. We have to redo 2016 because we're reliving it every day anyway. But ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely huge. There's no way for Sussman to... The indictment against Sussman alleges that tech executive 1 hired Sussman as his lawyer and claimed that he had offered a top cybersecurity position in the government if Clinton had won the election. So although he is not charged with a crime, prosecutors say tech executive 1 remains under investigation. And the defense has argued Durham's team to give him immunity in the case to free him to offer critical exculpatory testimony on behalf of Mr. Sussman. There is no exculpatory testimony, unfortunately. I feel bad for Michael Sussman, but he put himself in this situation by trying desperately to set up and frame Trump. If Tech Executive 1 were to offer exculpatory information, a special agent from the Bureau would immediately testify and explain why a lot of it was user-created and fabricated. So what's taking place, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. Durham is building numerous cases while he's building this case. He's building numerous cases while he's building this case. There are future indictments, possibly of Tech Executive 1, possibly of a Marc Elias. Who knows? Marc Elias turned on his colleague because he knows that he is in greater legal jeopardy, almost certainly, than Sussman. Michael Sussman has been betrayed by the entire planet. Well, I should say planet Democrat or whatever, Democrat world. He's been betrayed by the entire universe that revolves around the Democratic Party, Clinton, and all that. And you have to understand, this man, Sussman, was one piece, one cog, one piece of the machinery. Marc Elias turned on him. Robbie Mook is turning on him. These are people in Clinton's campaign. He worked for the Clinton campaign. His law firm is probably basically turning on him. Where's the law firm going to bat for this man? Who's going to bat for this man? And he's relying on the jury to reach a hung jury, or maybe 1 or 2 months in jail or prison, okay, or jail. Okay, so he's relying on a reduced sentence, but see, the thing is, at the end of the day, he could face a year or 5 years. This is something where if the Durham Probe Special Counsel does a good enough job explaining that he intentionally lied to the Bureau, to James Baker, and by the way, Sussman is also, in the defense is right in that Sussman didn't deceive Baker. James Baker knew that Sussman was working for the Clinton campaign. The top legal counsel at the Bureau knew that. But see, the Durham Probe Special Counsel and the Durham Probe Special Counsel is using the viewpoint of the judge. The judge doesn't want to hear anything about anyone conspiring against Trump, and he doesn't want to hear anything about Baker or the Bureau knowing anything. He just wants to, any judge is going to look at, well, what can you prove without a shadow of a doubt categorically? Okay, so James Baker hasn't been accused of a crime. You know what? Marc Elias hasn't, and so Sussman texted James Baker that he wasn't coming on behalf of Clinton. Well, then why did he do that? Okay, he did that because there was a wide-ranging plot to infiltrate, to give all this information to the Bureau, to get the Bureau to investigate Trump. That's why that's important. That's why that's important to Durham and to the judge or to the jury or to convicting Sussman, and also to future indictments. 18 U.S. Code 371 is people who conspire against the U.S. government, the people of the country. You cannot knowingly deceive the government. Elias, all of these people, Sussman in particular, knowingly deceived a government official. Now, the government official almost certainly knew what was going on. But see, again, you can't prove that at this very moment. So what you can prove is a text message saying, okay, the same thing with Strzok. If Strzok in a court of law said, we'll stop Trump, and then he says on the witness stand, oh, I only did that because I was angry at him. Then you could simply ask, all right, were you angry at any other public official? Did you set up any other public official? Is there any record that you were angry at him and that's why you said that? You know, I mean, he was kicked off. Strzok was kicked off of the Mueller probe. I mean, you have to be pretty partisan to be kicked off the Mueller probe. Everybody in the Mueller probe had only contempt for Trump. So if you're too partisan, if you have too much anti-Trump hysteria for the Mueller probe, you get kicked off. Imagine. So the Durham Probe Special Counsel is the first inning. It's just the first inning. And again, this is like trying to explain physics to a house cat to the morally superior liberal Democrats who are wonderful, almost always wrong on literally every major topic. Look at the economy. This is their doing. Subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I explained that in The Federalist last October. I predicted everything we're seeing now. when I say predicted, it's not like I'm Nostradamus. I'm just saying that I gave accurate analysis. Okay, I'm not like, it's not like a prediction. Like the three channels, the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower. Subscribe there right now. Watch the latest segment. It's just like a half hour ago, latest segment. The stock market crash channel, I have another segment of I'm doing three. What I'm trying to do on this channel now, on these three channels, what I will do is, ladies and gentlemen, I'll start with a Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel segment. Then I'll do a stock market crash channel segment. Then I'll do a segment on H.A. Goodman. I will try to do 12 videos a day. Yeah, so I will try to do about, let's see. 12 videos a day. So I'll do 4 H.A. Goodman segments, 4 Bitcoin crash and Bitcoin to 10,000 and below, Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or below segments, and 4 stock market crash channel segments. So you'll have hopefully 12 of me every day. Gee, isn't that wonderful? As if you couldn't get more annoyance from YouTube. But anyway, just joking. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the Bitcoin crash or to 10,000 or lower channel. I don't want crypto to implode. I don't want people to lose their money, especially in the 20s and 30s. People smarter than I am, people more intelligent, people with a lot more idealism. But it's going to happen. The whole thing is a gigantic racket. And also subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. Give me your thoughts. Hit subscribe. I'll be back in 2 hours with 3 more videos on each of the channels.